Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Random Chatter Reviews. I'm your host, Lou, and I'm joined by Tim and Eric tonight. Tim, how are you?
Doing well. Been had two hockey games this weekend to attend with the local team. They are thus far undefeated in the season.
Nice.
7 games, and
Nice.
yeah, good times.
Very good. Very good. And Eric, how
I'm
have you
doing
been?
pretty well. Finished up the Halloween
Awesome.
season with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups as usual. Didn't have to deal with kids knocking on the door. It was great. Loved it.
You know, if you buy the bags of candy and then don't turn the light on Halloween, all that candy stays in the house.
Exactly. And that's my theory.
Or
Why?
if you live in the country like I do, where there are no kids that come knocking on the door, you just buy candy and it's
that's
yours.
what we do here. And why should I be paying money to, get all of the kids in the neighborhood hyped up on sugar, encourage them to go door to door begging for stuff that, it's destroying their teeth, it's destroying their health.
And plus, childhood obesity
Diabetes.
is a really, important issue. Exactly. Yeah. All that stuff.
So I just buy it myself and eat it myself and figure, hey, if I'm going to kill myself with it, it's okay. At least I'm not endangering children with unsafe,
Exactly.
chocolatey and peanut buttery goodness.
You heard it here first, folks. There's
There
unsafe
is.
candy at Eric's house. So just.
That's all right.
Not for long.
Well, let's get right into what we've been watching for new stuff. There was some good new stuff this week.
There was.
Now, the final season for Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who is coming to an end, and I am way not caught up. I'm going back and rewatching all of her stuff because I got partway into it and then kind of lost track and it wasn't real
You're not
enamored with
missing
it.
much.
So I'm going back and watching it all and catching up, but I'm not right.
I would say
there
you could
yet.
watch
So
like
this
the
new-
last episode of the last season and then the Christmas special, and you'd be okay. And even those,
Really?
honestly,
Wow, that's not saying much.
they were the better episodes of her run, but I don't even know that you need to.
Well, I kind of want to watch it all because I feel like I have to. I mean, I've watched all the other ones. Not I shouldn't say that. Not all the other ones.
Well,
not
yeah,
all the
but
old stuff.
the modern run.
The current. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I love her Doctor. I just
you?
some of the writing is just rough.
I'm now to the point where I'm content.
But I think she's a
content with
fantastic
her
doctor. Yeah.
But they really took way too long to kind of.
It took me until about the end of the Capaldi run to get used to him as Doctor too, and I liked him at the end. But it took me the whole time.
Whittaker's
and
fault.
I'm afraid it's being the same thing with her.
Capaldi was the
It's
same
just
way.
The writing
Yeah.
and the way they've done it, but.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, what we're talking about is it's a 6-episode arc, I think, right, for the Doctor Who Flux, they're calling it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched
The second
one or two
episode, I think,
episodes
came out
released so far?
Today or yesterday.
Was it that?
I
Okay.
think so, yeah. I've only
As
watched
have
the
I.
first one,
Okay.
which is basically their Halloween episode,
Oh, okay.
if you will.
Yeah, it was.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's a really glowing review from Eric. Yeah.
This is a story that I like. I appreciate that. And of course, it's interesting. They've whittled it down to one companion, but now they've gained another. But I like the new companion. And of course, I mean, this is the last run of this is the last season for her Doctor, so it's not like he's going to be around for a long time. But I think it's a complimentary thing. We don't know how long he's going to be around. Either way, he's a temporary companion. He could be really, really temporary, or end of the season.
Of all of the
temporary.
Whittaker companions, he's the worst. Well, I can't say that's
Wow.
not.
You
That's
just
not fair.
met him.
I can't say that he's the worst because I can't understand
You
a
just
freaking
met him.
word coming out of his mouth. I don't even know what accent that is because I'm not well versed on. Certain people can say, "Oh, this is a Liverpool accent, and this is a such and such accent." When you get into like the British accent, I don't know what his is, but holy crap, it's thick enough. You need like a spoon or like a honey dipper where you can just like it's a like, and I'm typically pretty good with understanding accents. Like, I help other people out. You know, I live near DC. I've grown up with people from all kinds of different countries all the time. It normally doesn't faze me, but there's something about him. And then on top of that, talk about a whiny character. Like, people were talking about a character in Foundations in Discord earlier about how whiny the character is. And I'm like, you don't want to watch Doctor Who Flux then. Trust me. Because it's a good...
Eric, he's whiny because he was in a cage for a long time. And then when he gets out of the cage, he's in a space apocalypse.
Dude, I'd be all over that. Look at,
I would probably be a little whiny myself.
Tim, you are a little whiny.
WWCD. What would Clara do? Yes.
Be less
and
whiny.
You know what? In the alien apocalypse, she would be walking up to one of the control consoles and she'd be hit buttons. She'd be like, okay, let's do this.
But he's never even seen a TARDIS before. He doesn't even know what a TARDIS is. He was like, wait a minute, you opened the door. How can we breathe? Literally, he asked that question.
That's a valid question. I don't fault him for that one. But, oh my gosh, he's obnoxious. Like, he's not as bad as, what was the last Capaldi companion? Billy or something? The girl? She was horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
And again,
she was.
It's not the actress. I totally blame the writing. I want to be really clear about that. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's the character. It's not it's the character.
But this is another one of those characters. I can't wait to either of the two showrunners we had through the David Tennant era, the Matt Smith era. Those were great. They left. And it's just been downhill ever since then. And I'm glad that we're getting one of the two of them coming back because the show's just been kind of a mess. It's been okay. Like, it's been enough that I'm not giving up on it. You can get through it. And to your point, Tim, I agreed. This episode was actually good. I did not like that companion. I'm not looking forward to 5 more episodes with him, but...
It's a great setup to the story arc that they're going into. So I'm really happy with it.
I do really like that they're doing a 6-episode arc, and I do like this story. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see. We had another Marvel assembled, this time for the What If series.
Yes.
I have not had a chance to check that out yet, but I've liked the assembled stuff so far. I know. I've been watching other stuff.
That's fair.
Other new stuff.
I think this one was this was a good one, and I think in part because it was easy to make this a good Marvel assembled episode because it assembled so many different things together because you had all of the different voice actors from all of the different episodes, and you had the animation style, and you had just the concept of What If in the first place. So there was a lot of content there for them to unpack, and I dare say they could have made it even longer. But, I think this is one of the better Marvel assembled episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. And it was definitely different because it's obviously the first animated project for this. And, they were able to cover a lot of different aspects of it that we've never really seen from the live action stuff simply because of how things are produced differently. A short but very meaningful nod to this being Chadwick Boseman's last MCU project. It was good. And they talked about like, hey, some of the actors, were the MCU actors, others were voice actors that we brought in that were different, and like they just kind of jumped right in and it worked, and it was good. It was good.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. Something I did check out this week was the new Apple TV Plus movie Finch.
Oh, with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks and the robot and the dog.
And the dog.
I enjoyed it. It was a good movie. Yeah, and the dog, yeah. It was a good movie. It was a bit predictable. I wouldn't say it was, hey, his best work and you got to go out and see this thing right away. But, I mean, Tom Hanks is a very capable actor, did a great job with the role. I mean, it was basically Castaway, post-apocalyptic in the future with robots.
It looked like if you took Castaway and Wall-E and put them in a food processor and then dumped it out.
And added Tom Hanks.
Like it's
pretty close. Yeah. Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, it looked a little weird, but this was good.
I mean, you know, there wasn't a lot of backstory. There wasn't a lot of what happened and why we got here. It was just this happened and here we are, and this is what I'm making the best of it. And it didn't give you a lot of placement of where things were and why things were, which you don't need in this story. It was just about what was going on, and it got a little jumpy in parts where they jumped ahead, and you kind of had to, I get that, but they didn't really explain all that, but I'm okay with it still.
So,
so the writing was a bit choppy, but
so I have a question.
It was good. I definitely.
It seems like one of those movies where it kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. Happy ending, sad ending, bittersweet ending. Give me a word or two.
Hard to say without spoiling everything. It was
hopeful ending.
It was a satisfying ending.
That doesn't tell me anything, Lou. Thanks a lot.
Rogue One, everybody dies.
I mean, you know, it tugged your heartstrings. But I think the ending was, I'll say hopeful.
Okay.
Eric. I mean, I'll say hopeful ending for the world they built.
So not like dark and depressing, and you're going to walk away and like be in a rut for a week or something. Okay.
No.
Because especially with post-apocalyptic stuff, sometimes it can be a little hard to gauge. Like you have post-apocalyptic stuff like Jeremiah by JMS, which had a very hopeful ending. Then you have other post-apocalyptic stuff where you get to the end and it's just like, I don't even want to talk to human beings for about another 3 months. You know, it's tricky sometimes.
Right. No, this was not that bad. It was good in terms of the ending. Bring your Kleenex box.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Tim? What have you seen new this week?
Well, let's see. Card Counter is probably the newest thing. This is the with Oscar Isaac in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curious what you thought. This was wasn't it Scorsese that produced it? I don't know that he directed it. He was heavily involved in it.
It was, so I'll say I like the premise of it. I like the story. It was a slow burn. I liked the characters that were in it. You know, Oscar Isaac's character I thought was really great. It was just it was a slow burn. That's all. It's still a satisfying, very satisfying movie with an ending that was like, wow, kind of punches you in the face a little bit. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I'd recommend it. You know, it's definitely more of it's a drama.
I've never seen a trailer for it. It looked really good. Looked really intense.
I didn't connect with it as much as it sounds like Tim did. I respect the fact that it is a high quality film. The craftsmanship is great. The acting was great. The casting was great. The writing I thought was really good. It is a slow burn. I don't know. I would be careful recommending it to people. I think there are a lot of people out there who will really like it. And I think there's also a large audience out there who won't. So it really depends on, can you handle Scorsese movies? Can you handle long burn movies? Can you handle something where, you've got really damaged characters, things get a little bit dark. But
oh yeah, there's definitely, there's some darkness. There is absolutely some darkness. It is a good movie. And it's one of those movies that, like, I don't know that I'll ever necessarily watch again. I'm glad that I saw it. Good movie. But I mean, it's like probably 80% of the movies that I watch that, like, I watched it. I was entertained. I move on with my life. That's about it. So. that's what I got.
Before I get to my thing real quick, Mediocre Modeler said watch season 1 and 2 of Lock and Key on Netflix. I watched the pilot episode of it. I liked it. I never went back to it. Here in the chat, comment and let me know what did you think of season 1 and 2. We'll come back to it. I saw something new.
What'd you say?
I saw Army of Thieves. Army of Thieves. So you remember Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder movie on Netflix that was in the kind of the Dawn of the Dead.
Like last fall, beginning of this year.
So there's a zombie apocalypse. They've got it kind of contained to Vegas, at least in the U.S. And it's a heist movie. They break into a casino in Vegas to steal this like impossibly difficult to crack safe. Well, they don't steal the safe. They steal the contents of the safe, but they have to get through a zombie apocalypse to get to the safe. Had Dave Bautista, some other people in it. And we reviewed it and we really liked it. And so this is a prequel to that, set very briefly in front of, like almost immediately in front of Army of the Dead.
Now I know why you were talking about all that.
Was it not clear?
I'm like, why the heck is he talking about Army of the Dead? Like,
so
okay.
So when this takes place, is the zombie apocalypse still
just
happening?
Starting. So in Army of the Dead, I forget the German name for the Gotterdammerung, whatever that like impossibly difficult safe is the fourth of a series of safes that were created by Hans Wagner as kind of this series of safes. So this focuses on the first three, and it's focused around the main character is the safecracker from Army of the Dead, this kind of quirky, nerdy guy who has no confidence whatsoever unless he's there at a safe, and then he's like a god. And so it's got a really good comedic element to it. There are a lot of really funny moments, and but it's also a really good heist movie. So this had almost nothing zombie related in it. They don't like fight zombies and all that. Okay, it's happening in the background.
Okay,
but it's almost more in order to reference the movie that it's a prequel to. So I thought it was a really good heist movie. The character development was good. The characters are each individual and have substance to them, and you care about them individually in various different ways, and it's really good. I don't remember any of the actors or actresses' names, but they were really, they stood out. I can tell you that the woman who led the group played in Game of Thrones. She was Daenerys's like second in command, like assistant. But I can't remember her name, but she did brilliantly. Everybody in this, I just, listen, the movie was awesome. Acting was great. Writing was great. The comedy worked. The action scenes worked. The heist part of it worked. It was just a lot of fun. I liked it better than the Army of the Dead movie, and I liked the Army of the Dead movie. Of course, it's easier for me to like this because I don't really get into zombies that much, and this had none of that. This was just purely a heist movie. But I would highly recommend it. And in fact, I talked to Lou and Robin, and they've agreed we're going to do it for Movie Chatter after we're done covering Free Guy. But I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's been out, I want to say, for a week. I think about a week.
Okay.
Yeah. I loved it. It's great.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to I mean, I like a good heist movie. I mean, a prequel to Army of the Dead took me a bit to get used to the thought, but I'm like, okay.
The character. This guy, I love this character. I liked him in Army of the Dead. I love him in this. He's just a fun character. And I was worried about them making a movie about this character because I liked him in Army of the Dead, but I'm like, yeah, he's not a strong enough character to make a movie around. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Okay.
It's one of, and I am afraid of overhyping it now, but I enjoyed this more than I've enjoyed very many movies so far this year. Not the best, and it's not the best heist movie either, but it's definitely in my top handful of movies for 2021.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll look forward to seeing it. I don't have anything that I kind of took out and watched that's new to me, but not new to the world this week. But what do you guys get? Anything on your radar new that's new to you?
Tim?
Not entirely old, but a few months old. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Okay.
Saw that. Thoroughly impressed. I have no idea why the ratings of this were lower or were so low. In fact, this and I really enjoyed the first movie. This movie seemed to be much truer to what I kind of expected from a Ryan Reynolds, Sam Jackson movie.
Okay.
In terms of the portrayals of the characters and that kind of stuff. The story wasn't the motivation behind it wasn't as interesting as from the first movie, but it was very fast paced. It moved. I liked it. I thought it was damn funny.
Okay.
It's quite good. Eric is thoroughly disagreeing with me. Like I can feel his judgment.
Yeah, I can too. Yeah.
Through the screen.
And
that's
very
okay.
Happy you enjoyed it.
Oh, I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was damn good. This is a movie I would watch again.
This is a movie that I won't say you couldn't pay me to watch it again, because you literally could. And I'd be happy to take your money and watch it again, but it would require taking your money. Like I felt it was like, there are things that are juvenile and fun, and then there's like juvenile and annoying. And I felt the first one fell on that side where it was juvenile and fun. And this one, it was juvenile and annoying. I kept waiting for the movie to wrap up so that I could be done with it and move on to like anything else with my day.
Wow. That's not
not that there weren't good moments in it. There were some good moments, but I didn't care for the movie. But I am glad that Tim liked it.
Oh, I thoroughly did. And there was a lot of Salma Hayek,
and I think that she
and
I didn't like her
she
character.
was like, and I think that's a big thing, because she was very like loud and boisterous, and she was like all over this movie. And I think, and that's one of those things that like to personally know someone, and like I know people who are like that, and that they bother the hell out of me. Like I have a very, very short ability to deal with those kinds of people. But in the context of the movie, it was fantastic. It truly was, because like she just like kept on, and right to the right to the very end of the movie, literally the very end of the movie was her. And it was fantastic. The ending was hilarious.
I think, to your earlier question, I think that might be the differentiation between the people who liked the movie and who didn't. I imagine a lot of the bad reviews were probably because of her character. And I dare say, I think she's a good actress, but I think her over-the-top portrayal of it, though, to be fair, it's an over-the-top character. You kind of have to perform it over the top. I get that.
She's supposed to be over the top.
Like, I disliked the character so much that it made me not want to see any other Salma Hayek movies. And she's in the Eternals. And it took me like a while of watching the trailers and stuff for the Eternals to say, okay, it's going to be okay. It's not the same character. It's going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah, I think she broke the movie. Again, she or the writers. To be clear, probably the writers, but her character broke the movie for me. And I think that's it.
And overall, a great cast in the movie. I mean, there was the three of them. Morgan Freeman is in it. Antonio Banderas is in it. Like really, really great cast of good actors who can do some comedy stuff. They can do some actiony stuff. They will drop a gazillion F-bombs in a really funny context. It's just great. I did
like
thoroughly
Morgan Freeman
entertained.
in this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Especially the very specific role that
Yes.
he played in it, and Sam Jackson's absolute
Yes.
shock over it.
Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, cool. Eric, what about you? Anything new for you?
Yeah.
New to you, I should say?
I've been trying to look ahead and see what's coming down the pipe and try to catch up with some of the source material, because I think it would give me a little bit better position to discuss stuff on the show. So, for example, I started reading the Hawkeye comic series that the upcoming television show is somewhat based on. Okay, and I've been enjoying that. And I caught the trailer for the Cowboy Bebop movie, and I kind of I liked it. The stylistic aspects of it, the cast. I like the cast. I'm thinking, okay, so this may be something I'd want to watch. And I know that the anime is insanely popular, and I've never really gotten into anime.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. So now that Netflix has it, I thought, well, I'll sit down and watch a bit of it. And I'm maybe 5 episodes into it. It's good. There are definitely episodes that are fun, and then there's episodes where I just kind of drifted off and found other things to do, and then all of a sudden the episode ended, and I'm like, oh, what happened? Don't care. We'll check the next one. But it's interesting. It's got kind of a Firefly feel to it, which I like, and yet definitely with a heavy anime style and style of storytelling as well, not just the artwork. But it's good. I'm going to give it a shot and watch. Probably, if I can get through all of it, I will. If not, we'll see how far I get into it. But I feel like I at least have enough under my belt now to use as a point of reference for when I go see the movie. So, Cowboy Bebop, Netflix. So far, so good. And then while I was playing a video game, which I'll get back to at the end of the episode, I wanted something on in the background, and HBO Max now has the series from CNN, The Story of Late Night. I think it's about 6 episodes. They start with the really old, like black and white 1950s when televisions were first starting to come into the homes. They start back then. All the way back to names people probably haven't heard of today. And then they go through Johnny Carson, they go through David Letterman, and they go through kind of the whole taking over the Tonight Show war, and Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien and all of this, and all the way up to today with the more political heavy stuff like The Daily Show and some others. And they talk about how late night television tackled 9/11 and how it tackled the coronavirus, and then how it tackled the Black Lives Matter movement, and the riots and the police stuff, and all of that's more in the final episode. But I guess what I'm trying to say is they bring it all the way up to like today. And I was impressed with it. I've seen some of the other CNN documentary series before, like, the 80s, the 90s movies, and they're typically pretty well made. And I thought this one was really interesting. I've never been a huge late night TV fan, but, I used to watch it somewhat regularly, casually, but frequently. And I thought this was really good. So if you've got HBO Max, I think it's a series worth watching.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check that out. I am not a regular late night show watcher, but I do like to catch highlights. Sometimes if I'm up late enough, I will watch them, or at least like the opening monologues. If they have a great guest, sometimes I'll hang out for that. I've been a huge fan of Conan.
I like Conan.
Yeah. I mean, there's, and obviously it's just this incredible legacy.
And it's interesting to go back and see how it all started.
Hosts.
Sure.
And
exactly,
how commercials, for example, were affected by late night. Like that was the first time where you didn't have a single sponsor for a show. And instead you started introducing like commercials and stuff.
Interesting.
How late night got started at all and how it almost didn't. There's some really fascinating stuff in there. It's educational. If you're at all interested in kind of the evolution of television, I think that this is a big part of it. Even if you've never gotten into late night, you can't argue that this has really directly affected television as an industry. And this is a really interesting look at that.
Cool. I'll check that out as well.
Yep.
Let's see. Just keeping up with stuff. Foundation. You guys both watching Foundation, or
I
just
am, but I'm
Eric?
pretty far behind on it. I really need to catch up.
Okay. I'm up to date.
We're caught up here on Foundation,
and I'm amazed at how different this is from the book. I knew they had to make some changes, and they even said they were, Asimov knew that changes would have to be made when they made this into a series, from what he wrote way back when. But it's in a lot of ways it's not even the same story. It's just like there's so many changes to who the players are and what was going on. It's like, wow, okay, so you didn't need to read the books at all to to enjoy what's going on screen,
which is good for people like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's great because if you haven't watched it, if you haven't read it, no need to read it. I mean, I did read it recently just to make sure I was ready, but didn't have to. I mean, Apple TV has obviously spent a ton of money on this
the production investment is
the
very
special
clear.
effects are amazing. Yeah. And the writing, I think, is excellent too. Have you guys listened to the podcast that they do
still
for
haven't.
I have not. No.
The podcast is excellent. It's got the showrunner, and they usually have a couple people from the writer room in there as well, talking about what they did, what choices they were making as they were doing this, and kind of give you some more insight into the actual process, which is a lot of fun. So I highly recommend that as well.
Cool.
I think there's only 2 episodes left.
Really?
I think it's a 10-episode season. I think it's up to 8 now, I think. So it's getting pretty near the end of
I think I'm only on episode 3. Yeah, I'm really far behind. I'll have to catch up.
There was... Did they just do 8? I thought maybe. I'll have to take a look here. Otherwise, also Invasion on Apple TV.
Still Plus. Catching up on that too. I like it though.
I'm not caught up to the last episode. The most recent one last Friday I have not seen yet, but the one before that, they actually showed the alien for like a
I was going to ask. So which episode is that? Like 4 or 5?
I think that was 4. So I think 5 was last Friday.
Okay, I'm about to start 3.
But there was one sequence where somebody gets taken out. Like it was like if this is the edge of the frame, something grabs him from the side and pulls him in. And that's all you see. I'm like,
okay,
that was the alien. Okay, so there is actually an invasion happening.
Okay, because it's only been
and I gotta
cleared.
say that's one of the. I mean, along with all the other stuff that I have going on and watching and all that kind of stuff, I gotta say, Lou, your mention of it a couple weeks ago is the reason why I really haven't gotten into it, because you said like the first few episodes are just like such a long setup.
It is
that I'm like,
it's done really well though. I mean, I'll say that the writing is very good. You get really invested in the characters, but
but here's the thing though, like the first couple of episodes, the characters have conflict. And there's interesting things going on with the characters. It's worth it. Because I remember, Tim, you were asking, okay, what episode do I have to skip ahead to? I'm like, no. I was with Lou on this. Watch from the beginning, because it's actually interesting, the conflict that the characters are going through. I'm not to where Lou is. It's a good series. I'm only behind because I was catching up on some other things that I was behind on. The fact that it's a slow burn is disappointing because I'm really getting tired of slow burns. But Number one, like we said before, at least it's not doing the La Brea thing and giving us all kinds of stuff up front that don't make any sense. And then number two, the good writing compensates for the annoyance of the slow burn. In fact, it overcompensates for it. It does really, really well. So it makes up for it to the point where I'm happy, not just content. And Lou, would you agree with that? You're happy with the series?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
So far I am, yes. Yep.
So not merely just trudging through it, but happy with it.
Exactly. It's not like it's a chore to watch. I don't feel like, I got to watch this again. No, it's good. And while you guys are talking, I did just check, and episode 8 was last Friday of Foundation. Yep. So episode 9 this week, and then 10 will be the final one for the season. And when you mentioned La Brea, I'm up to date on La Brea too. I've been watching that.
Okay.
It's getting better. I'm actually happier with it now, because I was almost stopped it after the second episode. I'm like,
yeah, and I'm starting the second episode, so
it's
okay.
It's gotten a little better. I mean, I wouldn't say it's great. I don't think it's going to be a long-lived series, for 8-9 seasons. No, it might get a second season. It might not. I don't know yet.
Okay.
But I'm still there. So what else you guys?
I haven't watched those two yet because I've been catching up on Another Life. I finished it.
Where are you in that?
Got all the way through the finale.
Oh, good.
It was good. I don't recall whether they got picked up for another season or not. I thought I heard that they did, but as somebody had pointed out in the Discord, it really felt like a series finale. And it felt like a satisfying series finale.
Yep, they wrapped up the story they were telling.
And there are other stories they could tell.
And I can see where they could. Right, I can see where they could go from here, because there's just a world of stuff to do now.
I was impressed. I was a little worried in the first episode or two. It was good, but I was like, well, yeah, but where are you going to go with it? And
I was worried the whole first season.
Well, yeah, I know. We still got to talk about how they got those people on the ship in the first place. I get it. But I think that people who have said that the second season is better than the first were correct. And definitely. It was good. I enjoyed it. But that's what I've been catching up on, to the exclusion of other things. It's been 3 things. Number 1, a new video game I picked up, actually an old video game. Number 2, Another Life, and then number 3, finishing up the season of Only Murders in the Building. So caught that finale too.
Okay.
A little disappointed because I did predict who it was, and then I did kind of change for like maybe an episode, but then change back but it's still good. Like, I still love the show, and they did write it really well. I would not say the writing was predictable. I guessed.
Yeah, Only Murders is more about the ride, and they do keep you guessing, because they do kind of they change focus a lot. I love the fact that many of the episodes have these very subtle differences to them, some subtle. And then, the one episode with the guy's son who is deaf, and they did the entire episode with 0 spoken word.
Wow.
That was amazing. Really, really incredible. Really creative that they did that, and it just thrown into the middle of the season. Really cool stuff, and it's a fun show.
Brilliant.
It's done really well.
Series. It's great.
Yeah. I have gotten myself caught up on Handmaid's Tale, so I am up to the most current point in it, waiting on the next season. Which I don't know when that is. Next year, maybe. I don't know. But really good.
Still happy with it?
Oh, yeah, I am. It was one of those things that kind of it drops into a lull and it gets a little tedious, like season 2, and then season 3 starts to pick up more stuff, and then to where things wrapped up now was completely unexpected and unpredictable. Okay. Very, very happy that I stuck with it, and they've taken this in some really incredible places. That said, I'm hoping that this next season is the last season. It's one of those shows that I really appreciate it. I appreciate what they do with it. I love the acting. I love the story, all that kind of stuff. But it has to have an end.
Right.
And it's not going to be the end to this, Civil War type of situation and this, dystopian future kind of thing. No, but it's going to be an end to the main character's arc, and that's it. And they have to complete that because it can't go on perpetually. It's just it can't be a Walking Dead kind of thing. So,
I hate it when shows kind of outlive their I want to say usefulness, but I don't know what the right word is for it. But yeah, they go on beyond where the story should have ended, and you just get more of the same. Keep it good, make it nice, tight storytelling, and finish it.
Beyond the story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. The story's been spent, and yet,
right. Good point.
And what ends up being the driving force behind that is that the studios and other people, they like money, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they think, oh wow, look at the millions of dollars this show is making this season. You know what? Damn, let's go one more season.
Right.
And it was never written to be that way. So then you have writers scrambling to what the heck do we do now? How do we make up something interesting and viable without making it look like we're really, 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 really overreaching? Sorry, it's going to look like you're really, really, really overreaching.
Yeah.
Right. I also saw Free Guy recently. I know, Eric, you have, and I think, Tim, you have before too, but I was happy with that. It was a great movie.
Such a fantastic
movie. We're going to be covering that on Movie Chatter on Tuesday.
Yeah, looking forward to it because that was a good.
I watched it again
movie.
this week for Movie Chatter, and I think this is the third time I've seen it now. Really like that movie.
Yeah,
cool.
That's also a movie that's very rewatchable. I'll probably be watching that again soon.
There's things I'll pick up the second and third time watching it that I just either casually picked up on or didn't
look
pick
for
up
stuff
on
in the
at all,
background
so
because if you've played any sort of multiplayer online game, some of the things that you'll catch people in the background doing are just hilarious. Like you get the one guy who's just running into a wall over and over again, running and jumping off the wall and running and jumping off the wall and running and jumping off the wall. It's just in the background. You don't notice it. And then when you do, you're like, oh my gosh, I've seen so many people do that in games where they're just stuck or something, or the teabagging. If you know what that is, I'm not going to explain if you don't.
Yeah. I did see that. Yeah,
all kinds of stuff like that just in the background that you see all the time in video games. Whoever wrote this, they know video games, modern video games, they get it. And that was just really nice to see.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now, Eric, I got to ask you, have you finished reading Delta V?
Actually, I hadn't started it. I finished, what was I reading? Recursion by Blake Crouch, which was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And
that was good. Yep.
There's a book coming out later this month. Is it the third Thrawn book? There's something coming out later this month.
That's coming out the end of the year. Yeah, this month.
Well, there's something specifically in late November that I've been wanting. I've been looking forward to. So I'm like, as long as it's taking me to get through audiobooks right now, do I really want to start something else? So I picked something that I'm not sure I want to continue, so that if I end up ditching it, it's okay. And if not, I'll come back to it. But no, I did not start Delta V yet. I'm holding on to that until I have a clean run for it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Very good. Anything else that we've been playing around with?
But Tim, you can go first.
I've been reading the Spider-Man noir books. This is and it's one of those things. It's a multiverse thing that a lot of people might not be aware of. They did a small run with a few different characters kind of in this noir type of thing. So, being black and white, or at least primarily black and white. this takes place like early 40s, so still like very like gangster kind of time period and such. And so it's a very interesting take on the Spider-Man universe, and they kind of spin some of the traditional Spider-Man enemies into that era. So it's a little less comic book fantastical and a little bit more grounded. A lot of people are probably familiar with the character from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated movie,
as portrayed by Nicolas Cage.
Yes, voiced by Nicolas Cage. So yeah, you had this, one of the Spider-Man characters was wearing a fedora and a trench coat and kind of this old style mask with these goggles and such, and he was always in black and white. And I actually didn't even know much about the character when that movie came out, and just kind of looked into a little bit more and saw some of the different noir characters and series that they did. So picked this up on Comixology, did the trade of it, which is the full collection of maybe like 3 or 4 different story runs that they did of it. And I'm probably about 2/3 of the way through. Pretty good, really enjoyable. I like that they, the twists that they put on it, because it's almost, I say easy in quotation marks. It's almost easy at this point to drop a superhero into the modern day world, just because there's been so much world building, whether it's in Marvel or it's in DC or wherever else. And you don't have to create so much because it's already there. And in this situation, they really had to completely build a world around this. Even though a lot of it is based on our own history, but they had to weave these characters in kind of a suitable way to kind of jive with it. And I thought it was pretty cool. And it's an era that I like of in a genre that I appreciate in movies and that kind of stuff. So it works for me. I really appreciate it. I like it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to check that out. Is it I'll have to check it. It's been on for a while, right? So it should be on Marvel Unlimited.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, totally should.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I had talked before about the fact that I was playing New World, which is the new MMORPG that came out from Amazon that's been like breaking records and all this kind of stuff, right? It's also been breaking the game. There's a big portion of the end game content that people couldn't get to because it was bugged, so they fixed it. A few hours later, they took it down again because apparently it wasn't actually fixed. When you sold items on the auction house like a week ago, you didn't get any of the gold for it. They had to fix that. When they fixed that, there was then a gold duplication bug where you could basically just duplicate your gold over and over and over again. So they fixed that, and then they went and banned the people who did it. Then there was an item duplication bug that got introduced. The healers, you can cast a spell that puts like it's called an area of effect spell. If you're not into gaming, it puts like a circle on the ground. And as long as you're standing inside that circle, you're slowly getting healed over time. If you crouch while you're in that circle, you immediately get fully healed immediately. Over and over again.
Nice.
All right.
So when you're doing PvP battles against other people, as long as you got a healer who keeps that on the ground, you're all invincible.
Sure.
and on and on and on. Oh, and the economy, because it's all player-based economy. There are no merchants in the game. And so it was kind of a little bit broken because all of the end level crafting gear, it's all based on refining the stuff from the tier prior to that. So you have to go all the way back down to the basic level crafting stuff. So the easy level crafting stuff like iron ore is insanely expensive. And the super, super rare, hard to get metals are like pennies. So they put in a fix to kind of fix the economy, crashed the economy, put in another fix to uncrash the economy and crashed it even further. It's a little bit of a mess, so I've kind of given up on it.
Sounds like it.
And the funny thing is the mechanics of the game, they've done things right in this game that no other MMO has ever gotten right. So there's a crap ton of potential in this game. And once they get all their fixes in, it's going to be good. I enjoyed it enough that I kind of wanted to go back to playing something though. So I went back to Elder Scrolls Online, which if you don't know is kind of like Skyrim and that whole series, but in an MMO. And I had forgotten how good the quests are in that game. When you're playing a single player game, you have to have really good quests because that is the game. Like you have to have a good storyline. In multiplayer games, it's less so because, you know, you can fight against other players and craft and whatever. This MMO has better quest lines than most single player games. And then the world is full of these multiple brilliantly done quest lines that are really deep, engaging storytelling. And it's mind-blowing. When we were at Star Wars Celebration 2015, I think it was in Anaheim, we were waiting in line for something. One of the guys next to us as we were waiting was one of the writers for the game. And none of us played the game at the time. I got his business card. And we're like, oh, yeah, we'll get you on the podcast and interview you sometime. And I'm kicking myself now because I had no idea how good the writing was in this game. Probably the best quests in any video game I've ever played. So I typically keep all of my business cards I collect from conventions. I'm going to see if I can hunt it down. If I can, I'm going to get this guy on to do a special episode or something. The writing in this game is incredible. And the other thing that this game does that no other game does is they changed the game a couple of years ago. The entire game can be played at any time, with the exception of a couple of end game things. But you don't have an area where it's for like levels 1 through 10, and then you move on for 10 through 20, and then you move on to another area for 20 through 30. You can go anywhere. All of the mobs and all of those are the bad guys, and all of the dungeons and all of the quests scale. You can group with anybody. You can go anywhere you want, and the continents are huge. It's such a good game. Yeah, and I guess even when I played it before and liked it, there was a lot I was missing, and now like paying closer attention to it, I'm like, wow, yeah, I should have been playing this a long time ago. So I've stopped playing New World and playing Elder Scrolls Online instead. If anybody's interested in joining up, I'd love to group with other people. It's an easy game to play casually. You get XP bonuses if you group up with another person. If you choose to do the monthly subscription thing, you get all of the previous, all except the current expansion. You get all the previous expansions for free. Otherwise, I think you can just play the core game without any monthly subscription. So, but anyway, yeah, that's what I've been doing gaming wise, and really sad about New World because it's a game with a ton of potential, but man, did they break. Like I've never seen a game get broken so hard, so fast. Yeah.
That's too bad.
And they're active. They're fixing it, you know, and good on them.
Well, that's good. That's good. As long as they're paying attention to it and they're working at making it better.
And they're doing a good job of communicating with the community, which is another big hurdle with a lot of these games. So I appreciate the effort. They get an A for effort, no doubt. Sure. But I'm not going to come back to it until like the next expansion and they get their stuff together. But ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, top notch.
Very good. We talked about this a little bit on Force Chatter, that we have the Disney Plus Day coming up this Friday. So all kinds of good content going to be released then, as far as, I shouldn't say released, at least talked about, mentioned.
The news will be
announced.
released.
So,
yeah.
The shows won't. But yeah, so good stuff there. And Tim, you got an announcement to make.
Yeah. So a good friend of mine has convinced me to finally make the jump into Battlestar Galactica, something I have not watched at all. and that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. And I mentioned this to Lou, and so Lou has also been very excited about this. That he is also going to be rewatching this. So I have a lot of people to discuss this with.
I started a rewatch a week and a half ago.
So perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, so, Tim said he was going to start. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, well, let me get warmed up. So I watched the miniseries. And then,
which is apparently what the thing to start with.
You have
that's what I've been told. So
two-episode pilot.
That was the preliminary show they filmed as like a pilot. It was a two-episode miniseries. And they got picked up for a regular series after that, but the miniseries leads you right into it, like it should. And I said, well, I'll watch an episode or two, and Tim will start pretty soon. I was going to say, 8. I said, Tim, get her. It's compelling. It just sucks you in.
I think this coming week I'll have time to do so.
Because this is what 2003 or 4 something like that when it came out. I mean, this is a while ago. It's still good.
If you so the first season is only like 6 or 8 episodes long. And you know what? We actually had a podcast for BSG on the Random Chatter Network back during season 1, season 2. Just saying. If you can find the international cuts or the British cuts of season 1, a little bit different, a little bit longer, a little bit less filtered, not so much that it's worth jumping through a lot of hoops for, but if you happen across it somewhere, it's worth picking up that instead. But yeah, you have to watch the 4-hour miniseries, 2-hour episodes.
Yeah, I think it's 2
It's interesting
episodes,
though, because the first episode, we talk a lot on this podcast about how it takes a while for shows to kind of find their footing and the actors to find their roles and the writers to get the right momentum going and stuff. The very first official episode of this series, one of the best episodes in the entire run. 33 minutes. You remember that one, Lou?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Was a great episode.
Such a good, strong episode.
Yeah, I mean, the whole first season was really, and I think it was really good because they had the miniseries under the belt originally. So they knew the characters. They already had the story. And this is a story based loosely off of what the original series was back in 78 or wherever it was. Yeah. And it's referenced. It's it's in the same universe, but
the
it's
first
totally
season
reimagined. So
such a tight season.
Yeah.
The third season was a little rough.
Yeah.
Some of the episodes. Black market. Yeah. But yeah, that's awesome. My first thought when you said you were going to watch that was, what? No Babylon 5? Dude.
Well, that I'm working on that still next. Yeah.
But keep us posted. We'll try to kind of, I don't know, sync our rewatch along with yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a lot of fun. Such a good such a good series. Couple of rough points, but overall, really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be getting into it. I know obviously it's something that's been around for quite a while, and it's kind of a standard in sci-fi. And I'm almost embarrassed that I have not yet watched it. But it just I mean, obviously we all can't consume everything. So
I mean, Lou's still got to watch The Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Babylon 5 is kind of the last of that 90s era of sci-fi, and it really transcends it, but kind of the presentation, the method of like the production quality and stuff. And then BSG was the first one where it got into this really dark, gritty, poorly lit kind of style. And then that kind of defined a whole new movement for sci-fi shows. So we've got with one incredible series, we've got the end and really the ne plus ultra of one type of sci-fi production, and then this begins a whole new era of sci-fi production.
Well, when BSG came out, it really kind of woke me up to say, what the hell is Star Wars doing or not doing? Because they kept saying, we can't produce TV series because it's going to cost too much money. And I'm like, have you seen what these guys did? Because that was what
phenomenal. I remember television. You and I were talking many, many, many times way back in the day about why can't we have Rogue Squadron? This is the Rogue Squadron series. Do it. Just paint the ships differently. I mean, come on.
Right. So, okay, Tim, I'm looking forward to your thoughts after you see the miniseries.
Yeah, let us know.
Hoping
you got to text me too on this, not just Bozo over here, both of us. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, absolutely. Wow. Absolutely.
See, I know he knows a Bozo the clown reference because he's old.
Oh, Jesus. On that note, we are done with this episode.
Almost ran out of time. It was close.
Eric.
It was close.
It was close. Yeah, Eric. You almost didn't make it.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. Don't forget, Friday night. What is it? November 12th. Again, Disney. Is it the 12th? Okay. Disney Plus Day.
Yes.
And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. Next weekend, next Sunday night, we are going to have coverage of probably just about all of that. We're going to cover the Marvel stuff. We're going to cover the Star Wars stuff and Force Chatter. And then we will probably cover the neither stuff, like just the announcements of the regular Disney shows. Sometimes they've got some interesting Nat Geo stuff. But we're going to have, I would say, pretty comprehensive coverage of at least the big points that are announced. So next weekend, big episodes for Force Chatter and for Random Chatter, so don't miss those. And then Tuesday night, we had to postpone it this past week. That was my fault, but Tuesday night we're going to be doing Free Guy. So if you get a chance to watch it before then, be sure to watch it and then listen to the show Tuesday night. The following Tuesday night, we are going to be doing Army of Thieves. So be sure to check that out as well. You can listen to Movie Chatter 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday nights, and then Force Chatter and Random Chatter are at about 8 o'clock p.m. on Sunday nights. Be sure to hit randomchatter.com/store, where you can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies with the different Random Chatter show logos on it. And go to randomchatter.com/discord. We are going to be doing a somewhat live blog of Disney Plus Night. And so if you go to randomchatter.com/discord, you can get an invite link to the server and follow that as it happens in real time. We would love to see you there. But that's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. Have a great, safe week, everybody. We will see you